It's gorgeous. The problem is that as we keep reading, the call of Samuel gets tough. Because the call of Samuel becomes one where Samuel now has to wake up and rise up. And when he rises up, he now has to speak hard words to someone he loves. But the call of Samuel is beautiful for us to hear because it shows us what it is when God calls us. How we have to rise up and respond. And sometimes we may be in the position not of Samuel, but also of Eli, who says to Samuel, who says to when God's word is coming, listen, I need to hear it. I can't be in denial. I'm aware that it's probably bad news, but if the Lord told you, I need you to say it. And Eli had the courage to hear those words, and Eli had the faith in God still to accept it and to say, even if this is hard for me, it's the Lord's will. And if it's good in the Lord's eyes, let the Lord's will be done. The hardest thing to do is to wake somebody up when they're pretending to sleep. When we know we're awake, and we know what we need to face, and we know what we need to change, and we know that it's hard, and we become in denial about it, oh my goodness, sometimes that is so hard for us to wake up from. There are different ways it happens. I have a friend who has a cat, and she projects, so she's in denial that she doesn't like, a friend that keeps coming over. So her and her friend have a falling out, and she's realizing that she doesn't like this friend anymore. She doesn't feel good about this friend. So she said something interesting. The friend came over, and they had dinner, and I was there too, and I'm having dinner and coffee with them. And then the friend leaves, and I'm still there. And then she says, I don't think Billy, my cat, likes Tiffany that much. What? What do you mean? The cat was, the cat was around the person, the cat was nice. I don't think my cat really likes, I think my cat doesn't like people who, say one thing and do another. And I'm looking at it like, it's not the cat. It's you. You don't like Tiffany anymore. You have a problem with Tiffany. The cat's fine. The cat likes Tiffany. Tiffany likes the cat. The cat has nothing against it. But you know what I'm saying, though. You got a situation and you can't face it. You're unwilling to face it. You don't want to face it, and you put it on to somebody else. I think that person has a hard time with dealing with that situation. And it's not that person. It's not the cat. It's not this. It's not that. It's you. But if you're unwilling to face it, you might project it out to somebody else, and that's not good. You have to be like Samuel, who said, Lord, here I am, and who rises up. And you have to be like Eli, who says, whatever news it is, I'm going to be awake for it. So tell me, I will rise to it, even if it's rough. Samuel and Eli are two sides of one coin. One is when the young man realizes he can't sleep and the Lord calls him and he says, here I am. And the other is the old man who realizes that even if the Lord speaks through someone else, he has to be willing to hear it, even if it's hard. There are other ways we go through denial. You minimize it. This is one thing that people who struggle with addictions do. Before they actually face the fact that they have an addiction, they minimize it. I don't have a drinking problem. I don't have a gambling problem. I only go 5 days a week out of 7. If I have a problem, I'll go 7 out of 7 days a week. I don't have a problem. That's not too much. I don't have a problem. And you minimize it. You don't want to face it, so you make it smaller than what it is. You don't want to face it, so you make it less important than what it is. If you know that there's a situation, you say, you know what, we really don't need to deal with that this week. We don't need to deal with that this year. We don't need to deal with that today. It's not that important. We got other things to deal with that. You minimize it so you don't have to face it. The hardest thing to do is to wake somebody up when they're pretending to sleep. Denial. Then you got good old procrastination. Just put it off. Put off facing it. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to face it. Put off facing it till tomorrow. Put off facing it till I'm ready. Put off facing it till I'm ready to face it. But the truth of the matter is that willingness is readiness. And your willingness to face it is when you're ready. So there's never going to be a perfect time to face both good and bad news. There's never going to be a perfect time to make a hard decision. There's never going to be a perfect time to make a change. Every day you could put off changing your diet because you're not ready to change your diet. Every day you could put off going to the gym because you're not ready to go to the gym. Every day you could put that off because you don't want to do it. It's a hard decision. But willingness is readiness. The moment you're willing to do it, whether you think you can do it or not, the moment in your heart you're willing to face it, you are ready to face it. But the hardest thing to do is wake somebody up who's pretending to sleep. God's call over our lives does not come through the booming voice. Maybe it does sometimes. But God's call over our lives sometimes comes from when we are restless. When a problem keeps us up at night, it may not just be that problem. It may be the Lord saying, I need you through this problem to listen to me now. That restlessness, that maybe you may think it's the thing you're worried about, it may not be that worry. It may be the Lord saying, you're worried, I need you now to cast your cares upon me and learn to turn to me. That thing that's keeping you up at night, that you're not able to sleep about, that may not be a problem or worry at all, that you just need to take some chamomile tea to knock you out again. No, you might actually have to say, speak, Lord, your servant is listening. I can't sleep now for the 6th night in a row. Lord, what are you trying to tell me? And it may be God speaking to you through your problem. And you may think it's just a bitty problem that I got to deal with. But no, it's the Lord trying to tell you, you need me. And you need to come to me now. And you need to hear what I have to say to you. Because I'm trying to make you stronger and more able to face what you need to face. You may be worried about changes you got to face. But you know what? The Lord may be behind that restlessness you have. And so you may need to say, I am worried, but Lord, speak to me, because it may be you who is calling me now. Our ability to respond is what will make us responsible with each other. God is calling us through different things. It may be the hunger we have, that may be the Lord. There comes a point where you got to see restlessness not as a bad thing, but as a situation where God may be trying to get you to listen to Him. Dissatisfaction is not a bad thing. Dissatisfaction may be where God is saying you are satisfied with, you have been for too long satisfied with things less than me.